What do you do if you crash land onto an island with your unsubscribed son being missing and your only goal is to find him? Well... apparently the answer is to become a cannibal! So I needed some new drip, as my previous ones were covered in rubbish, so I got a new set of clothing using quite rudimentary measures, and then set off to survive, because if I was going to find my son and force him to subscribe to JK Mason, I first needed to survive long enough to get to him. But thankfully, I wasn't alone on my endeavours. The number of us fluctuated quite a lot, but there were always at least 3 of my mates with me to make sure that everyone was subscribed, and that I didn't end up somehow killing myself. So I chopped down this tree here, and unlike in Minecraft, there were actual tree physics! So we deforested a handful of the trees in this newfound land, though it's not like trees were the only things we had around us, as some of the previous customers on the plane had already set off on some of their own personal adventures, but were kind enough to leave their stuff for those of us who remained behind. And were also kind enough to let us know where their home was, by hanging up rocks and stones and stuff. Oh yeah, and human remains, but I'm sure that isn't a signifier of something to come, right? So we had gotten our rough bearings, so what next do we need for survival? Well, food and water. Water we found from this pond thing near the civilization of human remains, and the sticks we collected, we sharpened them a tad, and then plunged them into the marine life nearby! And that was our food sorted. That's a person. Or at least what was a person, presumably from the plane. And it only got worse by looking at these chaps! We were ambushed by cannibals! We had to witness our first experience of hostile life on our new landscape. And, rather poetically, the most dangerous species on this island was apparently humans! But as night fell, more trees fell. And by the end of the night, we had built a poor excuse of a shelter, just off of the shore of the human remains village. And in these shelters, you can skip today by sleeping and furthermore, save your character! Yeah, that's right, if you leave without saving, you start straight from the beginning again. So with this basic survival loop pretty much nailed, the daily routine looked like this. Stab a fish, cook it, chop down trees, repeat. Water? Don't need it! So we decided that it was time to create a larger shelter before going after our unsubscribed son. And with that, we were able to get the help of a sled. So with that, the daily routine now looked like stab a fish or a lizard, cook it, slap some logs onto the shed, and chuck them onto the wall of our establishment. No, genuinely, that was the majority of what we did. But me getting bored led to a wee bit of exploration, where I found yet another village littered with the belongings of the perished, and then took on this lad over here, which was like a commander cannibal or something, because somehow these chaps haven't consumed each other. So I pummeled him to death, and then I stole his club, and his legs, and arms, and well, based off of the nature of the game, you could probably guess what I did with those in my possession. But regardless of how, we had enough food, water, and shelter to finally start finding the unsubscribed child. We found this yacht, which had some interesting ornaments scattered around it, including a warning of what was yet to come. But after that, we entered this cave where we found some more chaps to slice into convenient bite-sized pieces, stole some clothes, and then the cave got dark. Really dark. And by the time we re-emerged, we were by this water cave thing, with the other chaps having found more useful resources such as katanas and scuba gear. Yeah, there was a time skip here. I simply forgot to record. Deal with it. And now it was simply a case of getting the heck out of here. As well, we had a child to force to subscribe. But after climbing this rope for what felt like ages, and after literally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, we emerged out of the cave, different men to those who entered. Still eating the remains of the unfortunate though, and while I was frolicking in the cave, so my mates had discovered this massive blooming hole, but we could only assume was where the unsubscribed was being held. So we formed a zip line and had to make a leap for our lives to make it to the bottom. After watching Jay's example and seeing him make a landing, it was my time to replicate what he had just shown me, and well, I had made it to the bottom. But it wasn't particularly friendly down here, as there were these chunky chaps that we had to slice down. We were starting to realise that maybe not everything we had previously encountered was human, but once everyone had made it down, things only got worse from there. But I had the lads to bail me out, and once we had sorted that out, we took a deep dive into this massive crater, using our diving gear to actually survive in the deep underwater caverns. And once we made it out, we had a roam to look for this futuristic building known as the Facility, of which the other lads, unbeknown to me, had been working towards. I had no idea we were going to this place, they just sort of like took me there. But luckily, one of the boys had a key card to open this very ominous looking door, and then we had entered the blooming back rooms, where we could vent around the place, accidentally killing ourselves while in the process, stealing probably years old food from these eerily modern places, and then killing these experiments. I'm sorry, but yes, they were babies. Yes, they were people at one point. They're not anymore though. So after we all took time apart to stare at the slime guy from Hotel Transylvania, we found the unsubscribed son, of whom was not in a particularly good state. I mean, look at this guy's trim! Not that I can say anything though. So safe to say, he had been affected by that YouTube glitch that randomly unsubscribes people. You might think you're subscribed, but if you just check down below and make that red button grey and hit the bell while you're at it, you can stop this from happening to you too. Because once you're unsubscribed, you need a live sacrifice from someone who's already subscribed to prevent the spread of the glitch. Couldn't use this guy, though I did try. However, we did find this girl, and as cruel as it was, we needed her to make sure that everyone around us was subscribed. It was the final stallion, the last resort. But it wasn't going to be that easy.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh god! Oh no! 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 Oh shit! Okay. Right.
Back up.
It is just Cassie.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh shit! I'm all I
I'm blocking. Guys! Remember to block. Remember to block. Shit.
Oh yeah.
Get it ready. Okay.
Yeah, it's the boss fight. Oh no, run this time! Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh shit!
I missed my Molotov. I missed it.